Madhava Kunja Bihare Jaya Gopidana Vallabha Girivaradhare Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Prabhupada 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 Nitai Gora Haribol 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 Nitai Gora Haribol Shri Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai Shri Radha Madhavasta Sakya Vrinda Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu Ki Jai Shri Panchatattva Ki Jai Shri Prahlad Nrsimhadev Bhagavan Ki Jai Devangraj Bhakti Vedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Guru Vrinda Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Hare Krishna. Om Gyantimirandasya Gyanandana Shalokaya Chakshurunmilitam Yana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Dashatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Bhutāya Matrema Puravibhur Nirmaya Kshatir Mushapurusha Bhungte Gunan Sadasa Sadasatmaka Yalang Krishishta Bhagavan Vacham Sime. Hare Krishna. So I wanted to thank all of you who chose to take part physically in Srimad Bhagavatam despite of the online option. And of course, we thank everyone participating online because unfortunately many devotees, they develop their love for Srimad Bhagavatam classes in separation. I guess they realized that love in separation is the topmost level, so they decided to practice it like that. So. And I wanted to ask all of your blessings, beginning with senior Vaishnavas here, and all of you as well, because all of you are Dham Vasis, residents of the holy place, so your blessings are very powerful, and they can make even someone like me speak in the way which is both useful and interesting. So actually, to give me your blessings is within your interests. Otherwise, it might be boring. Hare Krishna. So I feel like I'm in the mountain somewhere with echo. We continue reading here the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 11, Calculation of Time from the Atom, text 35. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Pūrvasyādau para-ardhasya. Pūrvasyādau para-ardhasya. Brahmo nāma mahān abhūt. Brahma nāma mahān abhūt. Kalpo yatrābhavad Brahma. Kalpo yatrābhavad Brahma. Śabda-brahmeti viduḥ. Śabda-brahmeti viduḥ. pūrvasyādau parārdhasya. Brahmo nāma mahān abhūt. Kalpo yatrābhavad Brahma. śabda-brahmeti viduḥ. Hare Krishna. pūrvasyādau parārdhasya brāhmo nāma mahān abhūt kalpo yatrābhavad brahma śabda-brahmeti yam viduḥ. Ladies, please. Pūrvasyādau parārdhasya brāhmo nāma mahān abhūt kalpo yatrābhavad brahma śabda-brahmeti yam viduḥ. Synonyms: pūrvasya of the first half, ādau in the beginning, para-ardhasya of the superior half, brāhmaḥ, Brahma-kalpa, nāma of the name, mahān, very great, abhūt, was manifest, kalpaha, millennium, yatra, whereupon, abhavad, appeared, Brahma, Lord Brahmā, śabda-brahmeti, the sounds of the Vedas, yam, which, viduḥ, they know. Translation purported by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. In the beginning of the first half of Brahma's life, there was a millennium called Brahma-kalpa, wherein Lord Brahmā appeared. The birth of the Vedas was simultaneous with Brahma's birth. Purport. According to Padma Purāṇa, Prabhāsa-khaṇḍa, in 30 days of Brahma, many kalpas take place, such as the Varāha-kalpa and Pitṛ-kalpa. 30 days make 1 month of Brahma, beginning from the full moon to the disappearance of the moon. 12 such months complete 1 year, and 50 years complete 1 para-ardha, or 1/2 the duration of the life of Brahma. The Śveta-varāha appearance of the Lord is the first birthday of Brahma. The birthday date of Brahma is in the month of March, according to Hindu astronomical calculation. This statement is reproduced from the explanation of Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura. End of the purport. pūrvasyādau para-ardhasya brāhmo nāma mahān abhūt kalpo yatrābhavad brahma śabda-brahmeti yam viduḥ. In the beginning of the first half of Brahma's life, there was a millennium called Brahma-kalpa, wherein Lord Brahma appeared. The birth of the Vedas was simultaneous with Brahma's birth. So, in this chapter, we hear quite amazing information which was known many thousands and millions of years ago about, atoms and calculations of time in relation to atoms, which is very amazing. Actually, the kind of knowledge which is given in the Vedas and in the Srimad Bhagavatam is completely unparalleled. And this is part of the discussion between Vidura and Maitreya. And so they explain everything about the universe, creation of the universe, functioning of the universe, starting with the first living being, Lord Brahmā, who happened to be our great to the greatest extent, grandfather, and the founder of our sampradaya. And there are many things in relation to this verse, but most important one is what's stated in the end, śabda-brahmeti viduḥ. śabda-brahma or Vedas appeared together with Lord Brahmā. So Lord Brahmā is considered to be the topmost human being, even though he may not look very traditionally for us, four heads. But he is the first and most advanced human being, and he received Vedic knowledge together with his birth. So this is the indication that Vedic knowledge should be part of life of every human being. And of course, Vedic knowledge is vast. But the original Vedic knowledge, as we know from 2nd canto, 9th chapter, which was given to Lord Brahmā, consisted of how many verses? 4 verses, Chatur-shloki of Srimad Bhagavatam, and it probably is worth remembering those original Vedic statements given by the Supreme Lord, starting with text 33. Very interesting verses. And in this regard, it's important to remember the statement from Bhagavad Gita 2:46, which says, Yavan artha udapane sarvata sampludadage tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasi vijanataha. That whatever purposes are served by a small well can be much better served by a great reservoir of water. In the same way, all the benefit which is derived from Vedas can be much easier gained by one who knows the purpose behind the Vedas. And anyone can help us. What is the purpose of the Vedas? Yeah, loving devotional service of the Supreme Lord. But then if you listen to the Chatur-shloki of the Srimad Bhagavatam, is it telling us that, was the Lord telling anything like that in Chatur-shloki? No. So let's discuss how is that most important Vedic knowledge, and yet it doesn't say anything about loving devotional service to the Supreme Lord. So these are the 4 verses, Chatur-shloki. Aham evasham ebagre nanyat yat sadasat param paschadaham yat etacha yo vasishyeta sosmyaham. Brahma, it is I, the personality of Godhead, who was existing before the creation when there was nothing but myself, nor was there the material nature, the cause of this creation. That which you see now is also I, the personality of Godhead. And after annihilation, when what remains will also be I, the personality of Godhead. So Krishna says, I always exist before, during, and after the creation. So this is the idea. Then text 34, Ritartham yat pratiyata na pratiyeta chatmani tat vidya tatmano mayam yata vaso yatha tama. O Brahma, whatever appears to be of any value, if it is without relation to me, has no reality. Know it as my illusory energy, that reflection which appears to be in darkness. So Krishna also explains the nature of Maya, illusory energy. Then next, text 35, Yatha mahanti bhutani bhuteshu cha vacheshvanu pravishtan apravishtani tatha teshu nateshu aham. O Brahma, please know that the universal elements enter into the cosmos and at the same time do not enter into the cosmos. Similarly, I myself also exist within everything created and at the same time I am outside of everything. So, achintya bheda bheda tattva is explained here. Krishna is everything and yet everything is not Krishna. So Prabhupada gave very easily understandable analogy. He said, Ford is the car, but Mr. Ford is not the car. So in the same way, everything is one and at the same time different from the Supreme Lord as his creation. And the final verse of Chatur-shloki is 36. Etavat eva jigyasyam tatva jigyasunatmana anvaya vyatirekabhyam yatsyat sarvatra sarvada. A person who is searching after the Supreme Absolute Truth, the personality of Godhead, must certainly search for it up to this in all circumstances, in all space and time, and both directly and indirectly. So, any idea why Krishna is not saying anything about devotional service in these 4 verses?
Because he wants to establish, he wants to let everybody know that he's the personality of Godhead, and to let everybody know that everything is coming from him, and that everything is developed from him.
Okay. So he is establishing himself as the Supreme Lord first. Any other thoughts? If devotional service is the most important thing in the Vedas, why Krishna is not telling in these 4 verses about the devotional service? Very good. Yes, that the last verse says that we should search for the absolute truth directly and indirectly. Very powerful statement. And yeah, actually it would be good to have second microphone. And we can understand that Krishna is giving everyone freedom to choose, because not everyone wants to be engaged in devotional service, but everybody wants 2 things. What are the 2 things everybody wants in life? Happiness and freedom from misery, right? These are the 2 things everybody is looking for. And many people want to be God. And here God says, this is how I am here. And of course, you know, if you are eternal and if you are in charge of everything, by definition you will be happy, right? And the last verse is really important in this regard, because one has to search for the absolute truth directly and indirectly. So this is the hint, or this is the direction in which one can discover devotional service. Because if we look at Krishna's example, which is very powerful, there is a very good reason why, you know, the perfection of life is to become Krishna conscious. Because if we look at Krishna's example in his life, what is Krishna doing? What is the purpose he is trying to pursue, and what are his activities? Yes.
To attract people's attention, all the soul's attention to his pastimes, to his name. And
okay.
glory.
Attract everyone. Krishna naturally does that. because he is Krishna, all attractive. Anyone else? Yes.
That he is a supreme enjoyer.
Okay, he is the supreme enjoyer. That's interesting. And important question, how he is enjoying? Gopinath Prabhu wanted to say something.
I have actually, for the last point, paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya chaduskritam.
Okay, saving sadhus and killing miscreants, one way to enjoy.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Actually, Lord's only business is he is enjoying by giving enjoyment to his devotees.
By?
Giving enjoyment to his devotees.
By giving enjoyment to his devotees. Only devotees? Everybody. Because everybody is his part and parcel. So it is very interesting if we look at Krishna's example. The only thing he wants in life is to make everyone happy. And the only thing he does in life is to serve everybody. And so, if someone looks at Krishna's example, and everybody includes every one of us too. And so, the more we know Krishna, the more we understand Krishna, the more we realize that he wants me to be happy, and he is eternally fulfilling my desires. Eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman. And then what is devotional service? Devotional service is just realizing the fact that Krishna did so much for me and was doing that forever. So natural thing would be to reciprocate. And further step, if we become like Krishna in the attitude, desiring everyone to be happy and fulfilling everyone's desires, this is how Vaishnavas are defined, right? Vancha-kalpataro vyascha kripa-sindhuvevacha. Vaishnavas are compassionate and they are fulfilling everybody's desire, because everybody's desire is to be permanently happy. So Krishna consciousness is the only way to be permanently happy. And so, yes, the last verse indicates that if we search for the absolute truth, both directly and indirectly, ultimately we will come to loving devotional service. That's the end result, will be the end result of our search. And it's interesting that Lord Brahmā himself is a very good example of that search for the absolute truth. Even before he met the Supreme Lord, he started searching throughout his lotus, etc. And this is what devotional service is, and Lord Brahmā is the prime example that devotional service means you get theoretical knowledge, but then when you start practicing, you will get some interesting experiences. And I think a very bright example of that is Brahma Vimohana Lila. Because Lord Brahmā, naturally, because he was born from the Supreme Lord, Narayan, and when there was a trouble in the universe, whatever issues Lord Brahmā cannot resolve, he has to go to his superior, to his boss, to his father, to the Supreme Lord, and pray for him to sort out the matter. And when he was getting complaints from the earth about too many demons, he went to the Supreme Lord and prayed to him at the shore of the Milk Ocean, and Supreme Lord promised to appear. And then he appeared. But then, all these discussions of time are there because, Lord Brahma's time is very different from our time. And it appears that Lord Brahma didn't realize that Krishna was the self-same Narayan. Because, Narayan is majesty and opulence and, very respectable behavior. But when he looked at Krishna, killing Aghasur, of course, Brahma realized that Krishna is a very powerful personality, whoever he was. But the behavior of Krishna, especially with the coward boys, didn't convince him that he is Narayan. Because Bhagavatam says that Krishna went searching for the calves and friends after Lord Brahma stole them. And why did he steal them? He wanted everyone to see that, no, Krishna is not the Supreme Lord. And why he came to this conclusion? Because Krishna's behavior was not exactly like Narayan's behavior. So, you come to see your father, and of course, if you have knowledge of reincarnation, you can agree, okay, that could be the reincarnation of my father as a little boy here. But the behavior and the character of Narayan is very different from Krishna's character, right? That when Lord Brahma was observing, trying to understand, is that real Narayan? And then he saw how the coward boys were taking lunch together, and there was no formality. They were offering Krishna their prasadam, but they were offering it in a very casual way. Some coward boy would bite something and would say, Krishna, it's very tasty, try it also. Or they would say, Krishna, I really like what you have in your tiffin, give it to me. So it was very, casual behavior. And as we know, some coward boy would say, Krishna, close your eyes and open your mouth. I'll give you something very nice. And then Krishna would, believe him, would close his eyes and open his mouth. And what would the coward boy put into his mouth? A flower. And Krishna would spit it out and make face, and everyone would laugh like that. So, who can dare to joke like that with Narayan in Vaikuntha, etc. There were many, different episodes of this pastime which finally convinced Lord Brahma that no, he cannot be Narayan. And everyone believes he is Narayan, but all the demigods, but I will prove everyone that he is not Narayan. So I will steal his friends and I will steal his cows. And everyone will see that, he will be just lost. And it's interesting, first of all, Krishna went searching for the friends and cows. It described holding his prasadam in his left hand. And even, the young bhaktas in ISKCON know that you're supposed to take prasad with your right hand. And so the origin of those standards, the Supreme Lord doesn't know the standards, doesn't follow the standards. So that was another point for Lord Brahma that no, he cannot be Narayan. And it's interesting that after, the entire pastime is very, very powerful in helping us to understand Krishna's nature really in depth, above and beyond, all types of formalities which are existing in Vaikuntha. And so Krishna, first of all, when the friends, they saw that the calves were gone, they wanted to go searching for them. But what did Krishna say? No, just relax. Keep taking your lunch. I will do the job myself. So it's amazing. Krishna never says, I am the Supreme Lord. I will be enjoying my lunch here, and you go and search and bring me the calves. No. Krishna says, you enjoy, and I will do the job. So it's amazing service attitude, natural service attitude, out of love. So he wants his friends to enjoy, rather than he wants to enjoy. This is how he is the supreme enjoyer. He is enjoying making others enjoy. So that's Krishna's character. And also, the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam described that, of course, Krishna always knew that it was Brahma who stole everybody. But he pretended, he acted as if he didn't understand. Why? Bhagavatam says, to make Lord Brahma happy. It's amazing. Just think about it. How would you respond if someone would steal something which is very dear to you? I mean, there is no one more dear to Krishna than his friends and his cows, right? Cows are Krishna's favorite animals. And of course, little cows, calves, they're very endearing. So who can be, I mean, they're so dear to Krishna that he even has the imprint of cow's hoof print on his foot. I guess the material analogy would be someone making tattoo of something which is very dear to the person. Krishna doesn't have to do that because he is born with these signs. And so one of the signs is calf's hoof print. And now imagine someone stealing from you something which is very dear to you. And you will try to please that person? Forget it. At best, you will tolerate, right? You will try to remain indifferent. Okay, Krishna's arrangement, he took it, or she took it. But Krishna is so positive, He's trying to please the fifth. Amazing. That's Krishna. And then, he expands himself into so many calves and into so many friends, not only to please Brahma, but to fulfill the desires of all the residents of Vrindavan, because they all wanted to be with Krishna. And so Krishna uses that opportunity to be with all of his devotees. And finally, when Lord Brahma is trying to figure out what happened, Krishna reveals to him that all these calves and all these cowherd boys are none other than he himself, Narayan. It's interesting that Brahma wanted to see Narayan when he came to look at Krishna. And Krishna not only fulfilled his desire, he, over-delivered to such an extent that Lord Brahma saw unlimited Narayans. And then he realized that they all come from Krishna, and That means Krishna is so much higher than any Narayan, right? And then, of course, next chapter 14, Brahma shares his realizations. And one of the greatest realizations he shared, that was actually the turning point in the discussion between Ramananda Rai and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when Ramananda Rai quoted that famous verse in relation to attempts to gain knowledge, right? Because Vedas are all about knowledge, right? And so intelligent people, they try to gain knowledge, which is naturally natural thing to do. But then this knowledge cannot conquer the Supreme Lord. Gyane prayaso dapasanamanta eva mukhari san. What's the next line? Jivanti san mukharitam bhavadiya vartha. Yeah. Jivanti san mukharita bhavadiya vartha stanestita shrutigata tanuvan manopir ye prayaso jita jito tap apitais trilokyam. So it says that no one can conquer the Supreme Lord by development of knowledge. Of course, people try, right? Conquering the Supreme Lord in the material world means conquer the material nature, which is energy of the Supreme Lord. And so all the scientists, they try to conquer influence of material nature by so many scientific discoveries, trying to become godlike, but then they end up being conquered by the material nature even in a worse way than before. So everybody is trying to conquer the Supreme Lord with the knowledge. We can understand, because in human life, knowledge is the most powerful weapon. And Brahma says there is no chance to conquer you by knowledge, development of knowledge. But stanestita shrutigata tanuvan manobir, if someone is engaging himself in shrutigata, in hearing and understanding you, which means the devotional service, one doesn't even have to change his position, stanestita shrutigata. But the engagement should be full, tanuvan mano, right? With the body, with the speech, and with the mind. Body, mind, and words have to be engaged. Ya prayaso, that endeavor, jita, conquers the Supreme Lord, apitais trilokyam, even though he cannot be conquered by anything within the three worlds. But devotional service is conquering the Supreme Lord. So it's very interesting how it's happening. So, and it's explained by the acharyas that this specific episode in Lord Brahma's life, very unique episode, made him into pure devotee, because he was a devotee, but he was not a pure devotee. And we understand that some Brahmas, they, do not take full advantage of the facility which is offered to them by Krishna, and it's more than one. I mean, you can look around this room, and according to the 9th canto, we all started as Brahmas, and we had full opportunity to perfect our lives and go back home, back to Godhead, but something went wrong along the path. So, yeah, but our Brahma really managed it well. He became pure devotee, and this episode was very significant in his devotional development. He realized that the sweetness of personal relationship with the Supreme Lord is so much greater than his position. Of course, one other episode in relation to him. Actually, it's interesting that one has to realize the greatness of the Supreme Lord, Aishwarya, before one realizes his sweetness. Otherwise, if one will realize the sweetness without understanding the greatness, it might turn into something sentimental, like Sahaja are practicing. So first step is to realize the Lord's greatness. And Chaitanya Charitamrita describes that episode, how Lord Brahma came to Dwaraka to gain the darshan of Krishna. And by the way, it's not always possible to gain Krishna's darshan, even for demigods. There is an interesting quote from Nectar of Devotion, chapter 22, which is qualities of Krishna further explained, and this is quality 49, if I remember correctly. Yeah, quality 49, which is all honorable. So it's explained, a person who is chief among all important persons is called all honorable. When Krishna was living in Dwaraka, demigods like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Indra, the king of heaven, and many others used to come to visit him. The doorkeeper who had to manage the entrance of all these demigods, one very busy day said, "My dear Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, please sit down on this bench and wait. My dear Indra, please desist from reading your prayers. This is creating a disturbance. Please wait silently. My dear Varuna, please go away. And my dear demigods, do not waste your time uselessly. Krishna is very busy. He cannot see you." So sometimes demigods, they get this kind of treatment in Dwaraka. Not always they can see Krishna. But one time Brahma was lucky, and he came, and the doorkeeper said, "Okay, I will inform Krishna about your appearance, about your visit." And then he came out and he said, "Krishna is asking, which Brahma are you?" And Brahma was shocked. He said, what does he mean? I'm the only Brahma in the universe. But, he had to give an answer. So he said, "Please tell Krishna, I am four-headed Brahma, father of 4 Kumaras." Okay? So that's my identity. And then when he was invited, Brahma said, "My Lord, I really have this question that, what was the purpose of this asking, which Brahma? Do you mean there are other Brahmas?" And Krishna smiled and then made so many Brahmas appear in the hall together with Lord Shiva's and everybody else. And it's described that all these Brahmas were so large, with so many heads on their shoulders, and our Brahma was the smallest, only 4 heads. There were Brahmas with thousands and millions of heads, and they were all glorifying the Supreme Lord. And Krishna was asking, "So how are you doing? Everything is fine?" They said, "Yes, by your mercy, everything is going well." And it's explained that our Brahma felt as if he was a mosquito surrounded by elephants. Like that. And then he realized his insignificant position, because if you are the main person in the whole universe, it might get into your head. But then Krishna removed that, bewilderment. So yeah, there are many episodes like that which were happening in Brahma's life, which were helping him to become pure. And actually, very significant episode at the end of Brahma Vimohana Lila, because interestingly enough, when Brahma was trying to beg pardon from Krishna, and it's interesting that if you compare Indra's offense was much greater. He tried to kill everybody, right? But he offered only 10 prayers, and Krishna easily forgave him. Brahma had to offer 40 prayers. So Krishna was pretty hard on him at that point, but it was for his benefit. And he made Brahma cry the tears of repentance. And he of course prayed that, I was so proud of myself, and I wish to have very humble position so I would not have any chance to become proud again. And when he cried and he looked at Krishna, and then he saw that his color turned golden. And he was bewildered. He said, "Why are you golden?" And Krishna said, "Yes, in this form, next time I come on earth in this golden form, and I will fulfill your desire. You will have very humble position, but you will be taking part in my pastimes as Haridas Thakur." That's why Chaitanya Charitamrita says he is Brahma Haridas, so he is incarnation of Lord Brahma. And it's very interesting also that Kali Santaran is conversation, which glorifies the importance of chanting Hare Krishna mantra in Kali Yuga. And it's conversation between Brahma and Narad Muni, right? They both discuss the importance of chanting Hare Krishna. And then Brahma comes as Thakur Haridas, and Narad Muni comes as Shivas Thakur. And Shivas Thakur's home is the birthplace of Sankirtan movement, and Thakur Haridas takes responsibility for becoming an acharya in chanting of the holy name. So they discuss it, and then they both take part in Lord's pastimes, helping to implement that very important principle in practice. So, yeah, this is how it goes, the development of Vedic wisdom from theory into practice. It takes time and it takes effort, but it's all worth it. So we can understand that we are most fortunate and we're doing the most important thing in our life, which is chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, thank you all very much for your kind listening. If anyone wants to add something, we have very senior Vaishnavas here. Jananivas Prabhu is with us, blessing us with his presence. So if any of you want to add something to the topic, or subtract, or ask, yes, remove microphone. We have 5 minutes left.
Thank you, Maharaj, for going into all these lila, very inspiring. Thank you. You said, in the end, you're speaking about Brahma.
Little bit closer, if you can.
Oh, the Brahma, you were discussing how he might get a little bit bewildered because he's such a big man. So we might get this idea that I'm going to avoid, if that's the case, my bhakti is going to be better if I don't take any position. So is that a correct reasoning, Maharaj?
Is it better not to take any position?
Devotee might think that for his Krishna consciousness, like that.
Yes, it's the same way, you know, if you don't want to get entangled in any problems, you try to avoid the problems, but avoidance is not a solution. Because how long can we avoid externally problems? Because material nature will still, you know, make us victims of what we're trying to avoid. And that's why much better solution is to develop detachment internally. You know, it's like, for example, brahmachari trying to avoid all women, right? Not to become attracted. But, you know, it's not really possible in Kali Yuga. And so that's why we need to be internally detached from all these things. Sense gratification, position, desire for prestige, etc., etc. And that can only happen by the development of higher taste. There is nothing else which can help us to become detached from lower taste, only higher taste. And if you have higher taste, even if you have high position or whatever else, you won't be interested in enjoying that because you have superior enjoyment. Thank you. Very good question. Okay, last 2 minutes, if anyone else, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for your Leela on Brahma Vimohana Leela. Prabhuji, one doubt that came in my mind is that since Krishna comes once in a day of Brahma, is it that Brahma falls into this illusion once in a day?
If this pastime of Brahma Vimohana Leela occurs every day of Brahma, well, I haven't heard any explanation whether it is happening every day of Brahma or not, but I cannot imagine Brahma being that forgetful. So most likely no. Most likely it occurs. Huh? Maybe after a few years. We can only speculate, but we know for sure that it happens once in Lord Brahma's life, and everything else is just concoctions. Most likely it doesn't. You know, we can safely assume that, you know, it was enough for Brahma once. Because, you know, even for us, making the same mistake every single day in our lives would be too much, what to speak of Lord Brahma. All right. Thank you all very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hare Krishna.